Amicalola Falls State Park came from a history of the Civil War, unlike many of the other parks, and thus the government wanted to bring tourists to engage in this. In 1852, Bartley Crane, quote, settled near the base of what was known as Umakalola Falls, which is Cherokee for tumbling waters, which is where the name Amicalola Falls comes from, end quote. A huge tourist attraction of the park is its close relation to the Appalachian Trail, the longest spanning trail in the United States, spanning over 2,000 miles. The Appalachian Trail is used every year in early spring by people traveling all the way to Maine, so when the park is hurt, it hurts a lot of people. Amicalola is one of the few state parks with a lodge like Unicoi, so money comes in from there always, but in the same degree, the lodge must stay running. Like the other parks, budget cuts and furloughing have predominantly affected the park in a negative way. Doug Grant, a worker at the Visitor Center at Amicalola, has been working at Amicalola for 2 years previously. He has degrees in forestry, geology, and education, and says that, quote, to be here in the woods is a big deal to me. Nature is my first love, end quote. The park itself is filled with hikers daily that are hiking to Springer Mountain to the beginning of the Appalachian Trail. The lodge at the top of the mountain also plays a big role in tourism. But as Grant said in my interview with him, quote, the park itself cannot have a full-time staff member, end quote. A park as big as Amicalola without a full-time staff member is shocking. Doug Grant is only part-time as well as his manager, too. Keeping trail work up, as well, has been tough with so few of the people, but luckily the Friends of Amicalola State Park play a big role in this. The chapter is in the nearby town to Amicalola, and all the people from the town try to give back. When thinking what is the best route to go in order to protect the park, Grant said, quote, you have to weigh things for the ultimate good, end quote. This is true at Amicalola as well as other places. In the visitor center itself, a full-time greeter station was constructed and a greeter was hired, but a month after the person was hired, the position was taken away for budget reasons. Even so, Amicalola needs people to come help donate their time and money as well, like all the other state parks. Red Top Mountain is located on Lake Allatoona and gets its name from the Georgia red clay soil that covers the land. In 1950, the government leased the land from the Army Corps of Engineers for 25 years in order to create the park and also to, quote, boost Bartow County's growth and agricultural economy, end quote. As the park flourished, a 33-room lodge was erected at the park with a restraint in it, and tourism flourished. Also included in the park are a, quote, iron foundry complex, an 1800s log cabin and blacksmith shop that once belonged to local families, all archaeological sites including open-pit iron mines and associated railroads, pioneer roads, a church, school, and home foundations, end quote. Red Top Mountain State Park is one of the most visited parks in Georgia with over 1 million people that visit each year. This led to an economic impact of over $15 million last year. Ranger Calvin Ritchie has worked at Red Top since 1997 and has worked as a resource manager since 2004. According to Ritchie, the trails are kept up at least once a week by trail maintenance, and volunteers and hikers also help clean and help the trails as they travel. Ironically, with the dip in the economy, Red Top actually gained land by gaining the Etowah Indian Mounds and Pickett's Mill. In order to try to balance out the budget cuts of over 40%, a 3-in-1 pass has been made for all 3 of the parks in order to bring visitors to each of the parks. Also with the budget cut, positions of the, quote, full-time managers, the lodge managers, and site managers, as well as the security staff, were cut. All of them are gone, end quote. Ritchie and the other staffers enjoy the different culture that is brought to the park by all the events, and they do not want the culture to go away. To guarantee that the culture does not leave the park, Ritchie is planning with the other staff, quote, enhancement projects such as bathrooms at the Pioneer Campground, adding trails to connect smaller trails to the main path, and we fixed the 3 boat ramps this year, and also renovations of the cottages and lodges in the spring and summer, end quote. The best thing that the parks can do during this time is stay positive and not let the economy overcome the parks, or we will lose them, and the effect on the local community around the park, such as Bartow and Cobb County, will be disastrous. Because these parks are made for the purpose of commercialization right off the bat, the economy of today affects them very differently because there is so much more reliant upon it. But many parks were also created to preserve and conserve the natural resources, and thus need the economy as well. Vogel State Park was given to the state by Fred and Augustus Vogel, who could not support the land and wanted the government to conserve the land. As a state park, Vogel's motto has and still is, quote, to continue this tradition by preserving the natural, historical, cultural, and recreational opportunities afforded by the area, end quote. Vogel State Park focuses on preservation of the lake and trails surrounding the area. With the dip in the economy of today, trail maintenance has been hard and the local community has really had to help out in that way. The local Friends of Georgia State Parks group has helped in this way and also has gained funding and labor for the park. Many key positions have been eliminated and only one true full-time staff member remains, the main manager. This has made working and maintaining the park very difficult. Like all the state parks as well, the budget of Vogel has been cut in more than half and has to overcome that by the help of local and state helpers and making smart decisions. FDR State Park was formed directly from the influence of FDR. In 1924, FDR traveled to the springs near the park in order to get away from politics for a time, and also to get relief from his polio. According to Don McGee, the director of the park, Dow's Knob, an area on the park, was the one area where FDR would show his braces on the outside of his pants and would bring his advisors there as well. In 1935, the CCC Camp Kimbrough, in nearby Chipley, Georgia, created the park with support from the government and also built the nearby highway. Just a few of the sites of the park include, quote, the 500,000-gallon Liberty Bell swimming pool, 28 miles of horseback riding trails, 2 lakes for boating and fishing, 140 tent trailer RV campsites, 22 cottages, 2 picnic shelters, a group shelter, 2 group camps, 4 pioneer campgrounds, and an interpretive educational and recreational programs, end quote. The huge park is well over 10,000 acres in land, all given by the surrounding community and the government. It is the largest park in Georgia by far. Don McGee has been the manager at FDR State Park for 5 years and has worked at other parks such as Seminole and Providence Canyon, so he's worked in management before and after the economic crash. With the total impact of tourism reaching $14,670,926, FDR State Park also plays a vital role to the community. Because of its close ties to nearby Pine Mountain, FDR State Park also creates a large increase in revenue for the town itself that is already below many of the other cities in Georgia. Last year, when all the other parks as well got hit with the economy, the budget of FDR State Park was cut in almost half, and they had to raise the prices of tickets and rentals in order to make up for it. Furloughing also occurred, and just in the visitor center itself, Don McGee is down 5 positions where, as he says, quote, we can't even answer the phone, end quote. The idea of furloughing is good to try to get money, but losing so many positions always will have a negative effect. At FDR itself, there is now only one true ranger left, the interpretive ranger, who is in charge of programs in order to try to bring people to the park. In the past, a large tourist attraction was the Liberty Pool in the park, but it had to be shut down because it could not be supported by the budget. This greatly affected much revenue, but fortunately on March 20th, 2010, brought together volunteers and friends group and people from Pine Mountain to renovate the pool, and it will be operational starting this summer. Loss of jobs and budget cuts do not just affect the park, it also affects people's demeanor and stresses them out. More responsibility is being put on the executives of the park, and getting work done now is much harder. The budget itself is given to the park is $705,000 a year. We are required to make at least $935,000 ourselves and at least $75,000 in park passes in order to meet revenue. It's like being a child, as Don McGee says. The beauty that brought FDR to the springs near FDR State Park will still remain, but it is slowly getting in danger like everywhere else. Even so, much work is being done to help this. Pine Mountain volunteers have taken over trail maintenance completely, which cuts back much cost per year. Also, Don McGee and the other executives have decided to buy washers and dryers, and now they do all their own laundry and the laundry for the cabins themselves, instead of hiring outside workers to do this. These actions, plus being smart about anything bought, is starting to help FDR survive, but it still needs help from anyone who is willing to offer